stop right there. Put down whatever you're holding. I'm not asking because this is urgent in the way the world screams about urgency. I'm asking because what God needs to show you today can't stay buried in the back of your mind for one more second. You've been given a direction. You know you have. Maybe it came in a dream. Maybe it was a verse that stopped your 3 a.m. doom scroll dead in its tracks. Maybe it was 30 seconds of absolute stillness in the middle of a Friday afternoon rush. But you know God pointed the way. You know exactly where you're supposed to go. And yet, you're standing still. This message was crafted for you. The one who has the map, but can't seem to cross the border. The one who sees the destination, but doesn't understand why their feet feel like lead. Stay with me until the very end. What needs to be torn down today isn't your faith. It's the door. This isn't about a lack of faith. You pray, you read, you believe. It's not a lack of desire either. You want this so badly, it aches in a place that doesn't have an anatomical name. That tightness right between your chest and your throat when you think about the life that hasn't arrived yet. It's something more specific. It's that haunting sensation that you're standing on the porch of a house that should already be open. You're on the threshold. You see the path. The blueprint is drawn. But there is something between you and the entrance that isn't a lack of belief, isn't some hidden scandal, and isn't a lack of effort. It's a locked door. And the detail this message has to reveal to you, the detail that changes everything, is that this door isn't locked from the outside. It's bolted from the inside. And you're the only one with the key. It's just that nobody ever taught you where to look for it. Today you're going to receive 3 things. First, the Hebrew name for exactly what you're feeling. A word that will shift your perspective from defeat to arrival. Second, a 3-step protocol you can execute tonight to start turning that key from the inside. Third, a declaration. Just one. It's going to resonate in your spirit tomorrow morning before you even remember you said it. Stay until the end. Don't break the connection until you have all 3. Each one depends on the one before it to work. You are standing on this threshold if you recognize these signs. Sign number 1, the dream that won't move. You had a vision, maybe asleep, maybe wide awake, and it was so vivid you had to write it down. But since then, it hasn't left the page. Every time you read it, your heart says yes. But every time you try to take that first step, something inside whispers, not yet. You called that being careful. It wasn't. Sign number 2, the prayer that hits a ceiling. You pray. You start strong. Sometimes you feel the presence, sometimes you don't. But there's a specific wall, a specific topic, a specific request where the prayer just jams. The words run dry. You feel like you're talking to a wall that's thicker than all the others. You called that a spiritual dry spell. It wasn't. Sign number 3, the message from the wrong person. Someone who wasn't praying with you, someone who doesn't even know your dream, said something that poked right where it hurt. A random comment, an unexpected question, a text with a Bible verse and no explanation. You called that a coincidence. It wasn't. Sign number 4, the fatigue that isn't physical. You sleep, but you wake up heavy. You rest, but you don't recover. This isn't clinical depression. It's not an illness. It's the weight of carrying a promise for too long without understanding why the delivery is delayed. You called that weakness. It was a burden you weren't meant to carry alone. Sign number 5, the almost loop. You've come so close. More than once. The opportunity appeared. The door cracked open. Something seemed to shift. And then, it just settled back into place. It didn't slam shut with a bang. It just drifted back, gentle, as if saying, not quite. You called that bad timing or bad luck. It was neither. If you see yourself in any of these, I want you to type, I am at the threshold in the comments. This isn't a confession of failure. It's a GPS coordinate. close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. What I'm about to tell you doesn't work if your attention is divided. Most people who study Hebrew know the word petash as door. Just a physical opening, a front door, a city gate. But in biblical Hebrew, petash is so much more than a door. It is the threshold. It is the liminal space between inside and outside. It's the place where Abraham was sitting when the messengers arrived, at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. He wasn't inside, he wasn't outside, he was in the petach. And what was Abraham doing at the threshold? Waiting. But it wasn't a passive wait. It was a positioned wait. He was at the meeting point. The mistake that steals years from people at the threshold is interpreting the petash as a failure, as if being at the entrance and not yet inside means you're never getting in. But in the Hebrew mindset, the threshold is sacred. It's where revelation lands. It's where the angel appears. It's where the decree is spoken. You aren't stuck on the outside. You are positioned at the entrance. And there is a world of difference between a door the enemy locked and a door God is holding shut, so you enter with the right weight, at the right time, with the right hands. The problem isn't the door. It's that no one taught you the difference between waiting at the threshold and getting stuck at the threshold. Joseph was 17 when he got his direction. The dream was crystal clear. The promise was explicit. The sheaves were bowing. The sun, moon, and stars were leaning toward him. He saw the destination with his eyes closed and woke up knowing. But between that dream and its fulfillment lay a pit, a prison, and a long period of being forgotten. 13 years of silence. 13 years where no one talked about the promise anymore. Where his own brothers, the ones who should have protected his identity, were the ones who threw him in the hole. And here is the detail no one told you about Joseph. In every stage of those 13 years, he was at the threshold. He wasn't on the outside as a punishment. He was positioned for preparation. In the pit, he learned that God hears from depths that others don't even know exist. In Potiphar's house, he learned authority under an unjust boss. In the prison, he interpreted dreams for nothing in return, cultivating a generous spirit when he had every right to be bitter. The palace door only opened when he had inside him what the palace required. And when it opened, it happened all at once, from forgotten to second in command, from prisoner to prince. But the truth that changes everything is this: Joseph didn't enter the palace to be transformed. He was transformed at the threshold so that he could handle the palace. A seed buried under asphalt isn't dead. It's under accumulated pressure. It doesn't stop growing because the ceiling is hard. It grows slower, deeper, with roots that have to be stronger than a seed in loose soil. And when it finally breaks through, it breaks through to stay. It will never be contained by that obstacle again. The threshold was the school of roots. Do you see the connection? What Joseph lived, what the seed faced, is what you're living right now. The time at the threshold wasn't a waste. It was the foundation. Let me pause for a full minute. 4 objective facts. 1. You aren't standing still because you failed. You are at the threshold because the direction God gave you is real enough to demand real preparation. 2. The door bolted from the inside isn't locked by the devil. It's locked by layers you've piled up. Fears with religious names, half-hearted obedience. I forgive you, said with the lips, but not the heart. 3. No one walks into a promise bigger than they are with the same settings they had before. The threshold is the place of reconfiguration. 4. What you're about to receive isn't just good advice. It's a protocol to start turning the key from the inside, starting tonight. And here is who you are in the middle of all this. You are someone God trusted with time at the threshold, because what He's handing you on the other side cannot be handled in a rush. Not everyone gets time in the patash. Only the people who are going to carry real weight. Your first identity, the promise carrier. You aren't someone waiting for a promise to arrive. You are someone who already carries the promise inside. From the day that direction landed, from the moment the verse stopped you in the middle of the night, from the time someone spoke a word over you and you felt the weight of it settle in your chest. The direction you received isn't in the future waiting for you. It's embedded in who you already are. It just needs permission to manifest. And that permission doesn't come from a pastor, a boss, or your family. It comes from you authorizing what God has already authorized. This gives you permission to stop asking for permission and start moving. Second identity, the threshold. Refined. The threshold wasn't your prison. It was your laboratory. Every time you tried and the door didn't open, it wasn't rejection. It was recalibration. Every time you prayed and felt silence, it wasn't absence. It was God working in depths that words can't reach. What was developed in you while you waited at the potash? The patience you didn't have before. The compassion that grew out of your own pain. The wisdom that sprouted from sleepless nights. That is exactly what will be required on the other side. This gives you permission to stop treating the threshold as lost time. Every second was an investment. Third identity, the lineage door opener. And this is the most sacred weight. You aren't just crossing over for yourself. What opens in you opens for the generation coming after you. The door you unlock today is the door your children will walk through without having to fight the way you fought. The promise you carry to fulfillment will be the inheritance for those behind you. Your kids won't have to stay at the same threshold you did. They'll walk straight in because you paid the price of positioned waiting. This gives you permission to cross over not for your own glory, but for the legacy you carry. You are the pioneer of your bloodline. Write, "I am the opener" in the comments. That isn't arrogance, it's recognition. And if this message is hitting home, make sure you're subscribed. The next word is going to arrive before you even realize you need it. Now, the protocol. The threshold protocol. 3 steps for tonight. Listen closely, because each step has a spiritual reason that can't be skipped. Step 1. Name the bolt. Before you go to sleep, sit in silence for 3 minutes. Not formal prayer, no background music, no memorized verses. Just silence. Because what needs to be revealed can't compete with noise. And you're going to ask one specific question. What inside me hasn't surrendered yet? Don't force an answer. Don't try to guess. Don't fill the silence with the first thing that pops up. You wait. And when it comes, when that word rises from the bottom without you forcing it, you write it down. One word. Only one. It might be fear. It might be control. It might be resentment. It might be pride. It might be a name you didn't expect. Write it down and leave it on the paper. Step 2. Declare the handoff. With that word written in front of you, you aren't just going to look at it. You're going to declare it out loud. Not a whisper, but in a voice you can hear. Because a whispered declaration has no weight in the spirit realm. You say, "I surrender the word into the promise. I no longer carry this as my solo responsibility." And here is the secret. You say it once. Just once. Don't repeat it 10 times trying to feel something. A declaration of surrender isn't a mantra. It's a decree. Once is enough if it's spoken with authority. Step 3. Sleep positioned. You aren't going to sleep with your back to the direction. You aren't going to sleep with your head full of tomorrow's stress. You're going to lie down, and right before you close your eyes, while you're still conscious, you say, "I am at the threshold. I am not lost. I am positioned." And sleep like that. Let those words be the last thing you speak, because what you declare before sleep is what your spirit works on through the night. The sign that it worked won't be euphoria. It won't be a high. It will be a strange quiet, a sense that something was put back in its right place, without noise, without fanfare, like a bone popping back into the socket. What I've given you here is just the beginning. If you want to understand the other blocks still holding your breakthrough back, the layers this protocol starts to loosen but doesn't finish alone, the Breakthrough Journal is in the first pinned comment. Not now. After you complete tonight's protocol, do the work first. Then decide if you need more. In the next 72 hours, 3 things are going to be thrown at what was declared here. Not as a possibility, as a certainty. You need to know this now so you aren't caught off guard. Tactic 1, convenient amnesia. You're going to wake up tomorrow and tonight's feeling will seem distant. The stillness you felt, that internal shift, will seem like it's faded. The clarity will be blurry, and a thought will rise. Maybe I was just being emotional. Maybe it wasn't that deep. Listen to me. That isn't healthy questioning. That isn't you being rational. It's the first attempt to close what started to open, because what was declared here disturbed spiritual structures that were very comfortable with you standing still. When that happens, and it will, don't argue with the thought. Don't try to convince yourself. Just repeat out loud, I am at the threshold. I am not lost. I am positioned. And move on with your day. You don't owe that doubt an explanation. Tactic 2, the counter evidence. This one is harder because it looks real. Something will happen in the next few days that looks like the exact opposite of what we declared. A no. A silence where you expected an answer. A door closing when you expected an opening. A project falling through. A conversation going south. Everything in you will want to interpret this as God saying the direction wasn't real. But listen, that isn't God's answer. It's a test of how much you believe what was declared when the visible evidence hasn't shown up yet. Abraham got the promise of a son, and immediately after, Sarah was declared barren. It looked like a contradiction. It was a test of faith in the unseen. The weapon against this is simple. Don't interpret what you see with eye-level logic. Declare out loud, the unseen is moving, and stick to the protocol. Don't negotiate with doubt. Tactic 3, the voice of reason. This is the most dangerous one of all because it doesn't come as an attack. Someone, not necessarily a bad person, maybe even someone who loves you, is going to say something that sounds sensible and will make you question the direction. A practical question, a legitimate concern, a comparison to someone else who tried and failed. Maybe you should wait a bit longer. Maybe you need more guarantees. Maybe you should look at plan B. The voice of reason is efficient because it doesn't feel like a spiritual attack. It feels like wisdom. It feels like protection. When it comes, you don't have to fight. You don't have to convince them. You just say, thanks, I hear you, but I already have my direction. And keep moving. The direction God gave you doesn't have to make sense to people standing outside your calling. The toughest battle won't be external. It'll be internal. It'll be your own voice saying, you've done this before, and it didn't work. That voice has a name, and its name isn't history. Its name is fear wearing a memory mask. When it rises, declare out loud, I am not who I was. What failed before has no power over what's declared now. And cut the line. Now close your eyes for a moment. Place your hand on your heart. Take 3 deep breaths. Slow. Now let it out. Not all at once. Release the rush. Release the comparison to people who have already crossed over. Release the shame of still being at the threshold. Release the weight of carrying the promise as if it were your sole responsibility. Say out loud, I let go. Repeat it. I let go. One more time. I let go. Now I want you to receive these 3 identities with an open heart. You are the promise carrier. You are the threshold refined. You are the lineage door opener. Whisper it to yourself. I am the carrier. I am the refined. I am the opener. Feel that sink in. Now, hear the Father's voice. My child, I saw the weight you carried while you stood still at the threshold. I saw the nights you looked at the direction I gave you and didn't understand why the door remained shut. I saw you wake up heavy without knowing why. I saw you trying to explain to others what you yourself didn't yet understand. I was there. I wasn't absent. I was building in you what the other side was going to demand. The door wasn't locked against you. It was held shut so you would arrive as the right person. Today, the key begins to turn, and it turns from the inside, because that is where I dwell. Now, I cover your mind against convenient amnesia. I cover your relationships against the voice of reason. I cover your timing against the counter-evidence, and I cover the area this message touched. The stalled dream, the stuck prayer, the almost loop. I cover it with the decree sealed here today. Now, the triple seal. Out loud. Committed, commissioned, sent. Committed, commissioned, sent. Don't say amen yet. Committed, commissioned, sent. Hold that decree for 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3. Now say it. Amen. Write the name of the door that is starting to turn in the comments. Just the name. 1 word. That seals the decree in the public square. There is one person on your contact list right now, as you feel this decree in your chest, who is also at the threshold and doesn't understand why they aren't moving. Don't blast this to a group chat. Text it to them with one message. This is for you. That's it. The next message is going to talk about what happens after. The door opens and why so few people are actually prepared for what's on the other side. Don't miss it. It is done. What was delivered here is delivered. You are not the same person you were when this started.